Good morning. Steve here. And a little bit of background. So I have a connection with the higher realms. I've had interaction with what I have thought to be the higher realms, higher consciousness. I've had a relationship. I've been aware of a relationship with beings on the higher level ever since I was a young child. I had voices inside my head that instructed me in my life of how to deal with these situations that I came across. They were always helpful. These trying to get that light out from behind my head. I don't want you to think I have like this aura. All right. So I've had these voices. They've been very instructive to me. They've continued. They took a break between about 13 and 17, and then they showed back up again. I probably didn't want to hear them during 13 to 17 because I knew everything and I didn't really need to know anything else. Okay. These these things that I have learned, I've learned through people who are in bodies. Many things I've learned are from people who are in bodies, and many things I've learned are from beings that aren't in bodies, but can communicate, and I'm guessing telepathically or intuitively or whatever, it's basically like listening to someone talk. It's like listening to me, like blah, 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 blah. And they would tell me things, and I would do those things, and I would see what I experienced from doing those things. I've recently begun feeling that I was somewhat being directed by YouTube as opposed to being directed by my helping friends. That I was getting off track a bit. That I was beginning to look at the numbers. How many people watch this video? What are people interested in? What can I give them that they want? As opposed to being present in my life, in my world, and talking about the energetics that I'm working with, and let those that hear that find out if that relates to what they're working with, and if the words that I say end up being helpful. That's my intention. That my struggles don't become your struggles. My solutions become your solutions. So if you're having struggles, don't have my struggles. Just don't do it. The struggle of working with the world healing field. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what my struggle's been for over 4 years, is setting up this world healing field, being instructed to set up this world healing field at the end of January of 2020, and being told that there's going to be much disturbance in the field and that I need to set up a field for the world and help ground the disturbance. Doesn't that sound fun? Well, let me tell you, it wasn't fun. It was work. I feel good about having done that work. I feel okay about having this channel to, relay some information out there to those who feel like they need a little information, a little help to understand the kind of the context of what we're working with. So, it work to ground the disturbance of the world healing field. You can imagine there's a lot of disturbance. The last 4 years has it been kind of everything's kind of feels like it's breaking up, breaking down, and reforming itself. So the whole phoenix thing, the whole thing of the bird, burns. I'm making it up. The bird burns, and then it reconstructs into a brand new bird. That's, I think, the flight of the phoenix or something. And the whole thing of Dark Nights of the Soul. And I get a little bit tight just thinking about Dark Nights of the Soul. Speaking of which, I woke up this morning in a panic from the dream world, just like, ah, that's a good sound too. Ah. And I went, okay, I'm feeling this energy. This feels like panic to me, but I don't feel like I have anything going on. There may be some things for me to let go of, but I don't feel like I have any personal stuff that is causing external panic. Yeah, one of my teeth fell out. Oh well. But I didn't have really anything, just a cap, there's a little cap, just fell off. It's like, oh well. But there wasn't anything that I could name as, oh, this is why I'm in panic. And sometimes when we name things and we make it okay to be in panic, then we say, oh, that's why I'm in panic. And then you just go around in panic. Rather than do what I did, which was, well, this feels like a triggering from the dream world. I could make up stories. I could say, oh, my tooth, or whatever. Oh, the world, oh, the healing field of the world is just so disturbing. I make up any stories, and we could say, that's the story. And I could say, okay, that's why I have the panic. And then we could just keep the story and keep the panic, or tell the story and keep the panic, or just do that thing. Or I could do what I did, which ended up being really good. I had the thought, well, this might be a good time to do yogic breathing while releasing this panic energy. So that's what I did. So in the yogic breathing that I do, I breathe fully into my chest, and when my chest is full, I breathe into my abdomen. When my abdomen is full, I gently push the air out using my abdominal muscles, starting from very low pubic bone area, squeezing like a toothpaste, squeezing the air out, squeezing the air out, squeezing it really like you're like squeezing that toothpaste all the way from the bottom all the way up the top. Like when you just have a little bit of toothpaste left in your container, and you're just like squeezing up to get that last little bit of toothpaste out of the container. If you're kind of recycling oriented, you finish, get it all out of there before you open a new one, whatever. Some people have that consciousness. I'm one of them. But squeezing that air out, squeezing it out. And as I'm squeezing that air out, I'm also having the consciousness of releasing that panicky energy, just releasing it. And you feel like I shouldn't release it into the world because that'll make the world more panicky. And that's not true. It's only panicky energy because you're holding it. If you let it go, it's just energy. The world's full of energy. And when panic consciousness is being pumped on the airways, and you're like, I should be afraid, I should be afraid, I should be afraid, then you're getting the program. Okay, so I'm going to just jump right into the 3 cards, the triangulation we got today. So the first card we got today in the tarot reading is the 3 of Swords. And the 3 of Swords is about sorrow. And this is what we're coming out of. Sorrow held in the mind or reworked in the mind. Again, the story. It's specifically negative thinking about the past, and particularly the parts of the past that have produced sorrow. The 3 of Swords represents events or sorrow that have pierced our nature to the core, so trauma, so some trauma we had, which is symbolized by the swords piercing the lotus blossom to its core with petals falling from its stem. The 3 of Swords reflects a tendency in the mind to rework the old bones of the past, and particularly the parts of the past that contain sorrow or negativity. Related to triangular patterns, father, mother, child, you being the child, father, mother, or you being the parents and the child, the triangulations or the 3 cats. But these triangular patterns that are from the past that relate to holding on to sorrow as opposed to releasing it into the world. We've got a giant vacuum cleaner hooked up to the healing field around the earth that can suck that energy away. Once it's sucked out of you and your consciousness and your stories, it's just energy that feeds the earth. It's just like compost for the earth. My early teacher said, there's no negative energy. There are destructive acts. Energy is just energy. There's no bad energy. It's disturbing when you're holding it and not letting it move because of some trauma you've had. And when you let that energy move, it moves, and then you're free of it. And you have more energy available to you, coming in from above, coming in from below, charging up your body battery, charging up your chakras, opening the kundalini energy up and down your spine, opening your crown chakra and making this connection to the higher realm even stronger, and grounding yourself to the healing center of the earth and connecting with your deep self. These all seem like useful things. Okay, that was card number 1 that we got. Currently, what we're working with, we got the Fool card. Major Arcana number 0, the Fool. This is one of my life cards because my numbers add up to 22, which in the new math or the old math is 0, which is the Fool. Anyway, the first thing says, so I wake up in a panic, I do some yogic breathing, I release the panic, I pull a card about today, and I get these words: fear not. The universe has got this. You're a part of the universe, you've got this. You are a large part of the universe. You may feel small within the universe, but you're connected to the whole thing. So you are the universe. You are your universe. And you're telling yourself through me, which is part of your universe, fear not. Gives me chills to say that. Because I'm saying that to me. Because really, literally, I'm saying that to me, and I'm saying that to you, because you are me. Fear not. What is not real never was and never will be. What is real always was, and cannot be destroyed. The fool relates to the principle of courage, the state of no fear. No fear. I choose to let this fear go. I disconnect from the matrix of fear surrounding the planet. It's not in my vision to live out of fear. Well, if I'm not going to live out of fear, what am I going to live out of? Well, according to the fool, you're going to live out of ecstasy and peak experiences. Sounds good to you? Just buy into this. Don't even have to pay anything, just buy into it. The fool is the universal principle that is associated with the state of consciousness that we experience before birth and after death. In life's experience, this state of consciousness is often labeled or experienced as being mystical, transcendent, ecstatic, and transpersonal in its nature. And that's all I'm going to read about that. And then I'm going to get to the card of our future. So by doing that, by just letting go of the fear, we're going to come into the Ace of Swords. So we started off the Three of Swords is releasing sorrow of the past. The Ace of Swords represents mental clarity, inventiveness, and originality. It's the mind that has no doubt. It's the mind that has moved out of doubt and confusion, as symbolized by the clouds at the bottom of the card. The Ace of Swords represents creative thinking, the inspired and innovative mind. It symbolizes expanded awareness and consciousness. The creative mind is revealed by the green sword. The Ace of Swords represents the balanced and receptive mind, which is portrayed by the crescent moon on the handle of the sword. The creative mind is willing to express itself dynamically, which is represented by the suns, the two balls on the handle, and is constantly renewing and regenerating itself, which is represented by the snake on the handle of the sword. It's going to be quite a day as we release our sorrows from the past, just not carrying them forward. We release the fear programming that keeps us feeling limited, and we get into our ecstatic creative self, and as a result, we get the sword that pierces that level of consciousness and opens us up to our part to play within the universal consciousness, which is the reality that we are now living in. Thanks for any of you that stayed through that whole thing and have whatever kind of day that you want or that you find yourself having. Keep breathing and know that you are the universal consciousness. Now let's go.